Hey guys, I'd just like to apologize in advance for any belching that I do. And if you see any green on my face, like a little bit of green, that's because I was practicing putting on my makeup for a play I'm gonna be in, which I'm gonna react to you as well. And yeah, big lunch, maybe a lot of burps, and I'm gonna drink a soda to settle my stomach, which may not assist very well in the belching department. So let's get on with a shocking case of orange juice Simpson. 3, 2, 1, play.
This week on Buzzfeed Unsolved, we discussed the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald L. Goldman, or as you may know it, the case of O.J. Simpson, who was Nicole's ex-husband, a Hall of Fame running back in the National Football League, and the case's top suspect.
Also, I was a little boy when this happened.
But you do know a fair amount.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone our age, he's just...
Yeah, I actually never even knew he played football. I just knew him as the guy who probably murdered somebody.
Yeah.
And his name was the Juice.
His name was...
There's a lot to unpack here, so let's just get into it. In the early morning of June 13th, 1994, at 12:10 a.m., the bodies of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald L. Goldman were found outside Nicole's Brentwood townhouse, stabbed to death. So right now we're on our way to Nicole Simpson's house.
That poor palm tree doesn't have its head.
Is that it right over there?
That's it over there. I feel awful.
Yeah.
I'm crazy about this.
Oh, that's the warning thing. I thought that was a sign in front of the house. That was the thing for the car.
Brentwood, yeah.
Just report the fucking Band-Aid, bro.
Good times.
At the time,
And
Nicole and
someone's
O.J.
mail is
Simpson
being
were
delivered.
divorced and living in separate residences, both located in Brentwood. The bodies were discovered by two neighbors
What was
who were
that red
literally
thing
led
on
to
the
the crime
map?
scene by Nicole's dog, a dog that multiple neighbors would say was incessantly barking around the time of the murders. So like I said, the dog led the neighbors down the street. I'm not sure if it was this way or that way, but the dog...
Which
led
way
them
is
to the
up
entrance,
which way is up or down the street?
coming out to the sidewalk. This whole place has been renovated, so the entrance right now is in a different place than it was back then, but...
You know what occurs to me, though, is how close all those apartments were. And
Yeah.
I was like...
And how no one heard.
For some reason, yeah, I always imagined the street was bigger and things were a little more separated, but everything's kind of on top of each other there. I imagine
Kind of like,
some people would have had to
Never
hear
mind.
something.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
yeah, like no
Let's go
one
through the
heard
highly
her.
detailed
No one
timeline.
heard some people being
On June
murdered.
12th, 1994, at 6:30 p.m., Nicole, her children, and others arrive at dinner at a restaurant called Mezzaluna. At 9:15 p.m.,
I wonder where that-
Nicole's
what
sister
that
calls
means,
Mezzaluna to say that her
Mezzaluna.
mother had left her glasses there. Ronald Goldman goes to pick up the glasses. At 9 to 9:30 p.m., Brian, Cato, Kalin, and O.J. Simpson go to McDonald's for dinner.
That's what I had for lunch.
To hear that. I'm
No.
sure they wished he left that out of the testimony.
Was that in the testimony?
I mean, it had to be. It's on the official timeline.
Well, it did get a lot of media coverage.
I
though, so
guess.
that's free advertising.
I suppose. At 9:45,
All they had to
Cato
pay
and
for the
O.J.
price was a body.
Cato was
was
staying
two
with O.J. in
bodies.
his guest house at the time. At 9:48 to 9:50 p.m., Goldman leaves Mezzaluna with a white envelope containing Nicole's mother's glasses. At 10:15 p.m., Nicole Simpson's neighbor hears a dog bark and cry while he is watching TV. The prosecution would later cite these barks as the barks of Nicole's dog, who was theoretically crying out at the murder of its owner, Nicole.
So they're going by dog bark.
They're going by dog bark. In a lot of ways, this dog is the real hero of the story, it seems like.
I don't know if there's a lot of heroes in this one,
No,
Ryan.
no, but the dog,
If you want to give it to the dog,
I'll
then
give it to
sure.
the dog. I'd like to have something happy about this story, and
Yeah.
the dog is a regular lassie. For the sake of just keeping this less bleak, let's
It's a
show a picture.
happy-
Let's show a picture of a Nikita right now. I think we could all use that.
Please.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
something jolly.
Yeah, something jolly. At 10:25 p.m., a limousine driver named Ellen Park arrives at OJ's home. OJ was scheduled to leave on a red-eye that night from LA to Chicago at 11:45 p.m. At 10:40 p.m., OJ's guest, Cato, heard 3 loud thumps on an outside wall of the guest house he is staying in. From 10:40 to 10:55 p.m., Ellen Park, the limo driver, buzzes OJ's intercom several times, but there is no answer. Just before 11 p.m., the limo driver sees a shadowy figure. 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, walking across the driveway towards the house. At about 11 p.m., the limo driver tries buzzing the intercom again, and this time, OJ answers. OJ tells the limo driver that he had overslept and had just gotten out of the shower.
Doesn't look too good.
Nope.
Could have been a coyote. Los Angeles has got its fair share of coyotes running around.
Yeah.
A 6 foot tall
Everywhere's
coyote.
got coyotes.
By the way, for it being a shadowy figure, this guy seems to have a very accurate description of it.
I know. Yeah.
6 feet, 200 pounds.
But very shadowy.
Smells McDonald's. At 11:45 p.m., OJ departs on an American Airlines flight to Chicago. And taking us back to the start, at 12:10 a.m., the bodies of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald L. Goldman are discovered outside her townhouse, stabbed to death. Evidence found at the crime scene included a blood-stained glove left by the suspected killer, a knitted hat, and a bloody footprint. Detectives would arrive at OJ's house at 5 a.m. and would discover some key pieces of evidence, but we'll get into that later. Meanwhile, OJ's flight lands in Chicago. According to lead prosecutor Marsha Clark, Detective Ron Phillips called OJ to inform him that his ex-wife was dead. OJ's first response? Quote, "Who killed her?" End quote.
Not good.
I think that's a.
How did she die?
Nope.
What happened? Who killed her?
I think that's like
That's not the go-to,
like the
yeah.
second most normal
OJ
response.
was questioned for 3 hours by the LAPD, but released. On June 17, 1994, 4 days later, OJ was charged with 2 counts of murder, but he famously did not surrender to the police and was declared a fugitive. The resulting low-speed police chase of OJ on the freeways of Southern California in his white Ford Bronco is a lasting memory for anybody familiar with the case. Do you remember that?
I actually don't. I think I was not too on top of the news cycle then, because I was watching Power Rangers or something, but I was not...
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you were just eating cereal or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So I was probably taking a dump or something.
That's
That's all I did was take dumps
Oh, well,
in my pants.
weird childhood.
OJ was in the passenger seat. The car was being driven by his friend, Al Cowlings, who would later explain he
I
didn't
think
stop
I was like a
due to the
half-bleed
fact that
cell
OJ
back
was
then.
apparently holding a gun to his own head in the car, and that OJ was suicidal. In fact, a suicide note by OJ was found, but we'll get to that in a bit. So right now, we're going about the speed that OJ was when the chase was happening, and we're in rush hour traffic for the most part in LA.
I thought he was going even slower.
I can't say I feel exhilarated right now, nor do I feel like Vin Diesel. During the chase, they recorded a phone call between OJ and homicide
Oh shit!
detective
Don't tell me they're
Tom
gonna
Lang.
play it.
Here's some audio from that.
Nobody's
God.
gonna get hurt.
I'm the only one that deserves.
No, you don't deserve
to
that.
get hurt.
You do not deserve to get hurt. You do not deserve to get hurt. Don't do this.
All I did was love Nicole. That's all I did was love her.
The chase would end at OJ's home in Brentwood. Inside the car, they found, in what I imagine was unintentional humor, makeup adhesive, a fake mustache and goatee, OJ's passport, and a gun. Just try to picture one of the most famous people in the world trying to sneak into TSA with a glued-on mustache and thinking that it's going to work out. I can't believe he was even considering it.
It's a little juvenile.
OJ surrendered to the police at 8:51 p.m. Let's go over OJ's suicide note. Aside from thanking those who meant a lot to him in his life, OJ professed his innocence. Quote, "First, everyone understand, I have nothing to do with Nicole's murder. I loved her, always have and always will. If we had a problem, it's because I loved her so much." End quote. And with that, let's get into the suspects. Unlike our other cases, this case has one clear top suspect, OJ Simpson. So let's break this down into 2 sections. Why OJ is the killer, and why OJ isn't the killer. Let's start with why he could have done it. First off, let's start with a possible motive. OJ and Nicole Simpson had been going through a break, and around the time of the murders, Nicole and Ronald Goldman had reportedly grown increasingly close, leading some to speculate that they were perhaps more than friends, though Goldman said that wasn't the case. That obviously is a clear motive right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if Goldman had said that that wasn't the case, I don't think that's going to matter if
No.
he's spending any time with
I mean,
her.
that's a meme now, the guy you shouldn't be worried about.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so in the most extreme
I remember
case.
that
Now,
meme.
let's
It
return
was
to the
dumb.
timeline. If the murders did in fact occur around 10:15 when the dog barking began, as the prosecution suggested, that would give OJ enough time to commit the murders, clean himself up, and be back at his house by 11 p.m. to greet the limo driver. Right now we're heading over to OJ's Rockingham estate, which was actually only 6 minutes away.
Yeah, that's a little sketchy.
So it's feasible.
Wait, 6 minutes by driving or walking?
Damn, these houses are nice.
Yeah, these are very nice houses.
I think, it.
That supposedly is it.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So this is the former site of OJ's Rockingham estate. It was demolished in 1998, but happy to leave. Going into DNA evidence, OJ's blood, as well as Nicole's and Goldman's, were found on the glove left at the scene of the crime. Further damning was the fact that this glove matched a glove found within OJ's estate behind the guest house near the area where OJ's friend Cato heard loud thumps at 10:40 p.m. Both gloves had blood on them that matched Nicole, Goldman, and OJ. OJ also had a cut on his finger the day after the murders when the police interviewed him. The knitted hat found at the crime scene contained hairs that were proven to be OJ's by the FBI Hair and Fiber Laboratory. Also found at OJ's residence was Nicole's blood on a sock. Blood was also found in his driveway. The bloody shoe print found at the crime scene matched OJ's size, and the sole pattern matched another pair that OJ owned at the time. OJ had also purchased a knife, matching the type the coroner predicted the killer used, though the knife and the shoes were never found.
This is where a lot of people sort of draw the line, right?
When you have 3 separate pieces of evidence that have DNA connotations linking you to the murder.
If you're looking at the surface here, boy oh boy.
That's an avalanche of he done it right there.
Yeah.
So, God, maybe we should just show a picture of that dog again. Just show, every time we get sad, show the picture of the dog.
Bring that up.
Bring that back. It's right there.
Good.
That's a good dog.
The dog has an idea.
Another key detail was the fact that OJ had been a perpetrator of spousal abuse against Nicole Simpson in the past, reportedly resulting in 9 police visits to the Simpson residence responding to domestic disturbance calls. In 1989, OJ was found guilty for spousal abuse and pled no contest to the charges. Bizarrely, OJ himself actually wrote a book in 2006 called If I Did It, a hypothetical account of the murders. Though the book was first canceled due to public outrage, it was later published with the profits going to the Goldman family.
Oh boy.
Well, what about the Kidman family?
It's,
Holy shit. That's all I have to say to that.
just redefining.
This guy's got some nads on him, and in the worst way possible. For those that are new to this case, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty in court. Despite the DNA evidence found at the crime scene, the defense team called to the attention of the jury technical mistakes made by the forensic team, which created some doubt over the evidence. Evidence was not packaged correctly, and even left in a van to overheat.
Well, that was
Ultimately
stupid.
led to them suggesting that the crime scene may have been contaminated. Grasping at straws. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a forensic artist.
I know you're not.
Yeah, I mean, in case you're wondering, I'm not.
He is not.
But from my knucklehead perspective, this looks very bad. During the trial, the defense team had OJ try on the glove found at the crime scene, and it was too small.
That's kind
Now
of a
famous
bad
quote by the
idea.
lawyer, quote, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit," end quote.
Catchy.
He Dr. Seussed his way out of a murder. So, though it's worth mentioning, the prosecution team was against having OJ try on the glove because it had been frozen and unfrozen multiple times as a preservation method. And it also
That's also dumb.
I don't know how glove freezing works, frankly.
Yeah, I'm not a glove freeze artist.
No.
Many believe that race played a factor in OJ's acquittal due to the events that surrounded the trial. In 1992, race riots occurred due to the LAPD's senseless and horrific beating of a black man named Rodney King, a beating for which the assaulting officers were acquitted of all charges. The defense strategically used law enforcement racism as a reason for OJ's charges. They showed a video of Simpson handcuffed as soon as he returned from Chicago, demonstrating
Sorry
he was
about that.
being by the police. Perhaps
Sorry
one
about
of
that,
their
Pilch.
biggest arguments was centered around Detective Mark Furman. During the trial, the defense played for the jury a tape of audio in which Detective Furman was recorded using racial slurs over 40 times in one recorded sitting.
Bruh,
This
just
is noteworthy.
eat a bar of soap.
Furman
Eat the
was
whole
first
damn
man to
soap.
step inside OJ's Brentwood Rockingham estate after
Mr.
the murders
Furman,
occurred.
eat a whole
He
goddamn bar of
by
soap.
jumping over the wall of OJ's estate. This is a
That's
critical detail
dumb.
because according to Detective Furman's own testimony, it was during this time after he jumped the wall that he alone discovered the notorious matching bloody glove behind OJ's guest house. With this information, the defense was able to suggest that Detective Furman planted the glove and perhaps all other evidence found at OJ's estate, effectively tainting the evidence, regardless of whether or not it was true. Christopher Darden, a deputy district attorney assigned to the OJ case, summarized it in this quote, "It will do one thing. It will upset the black jurors. It will say, whose side are you on? The man or the brothers?" End quote. The jury was made up of 8 black people, 1 Hispanic person, 1 white person, and 2 people of mixed race. All these things considered, the jury reached the verdict of not guilty after less than 4 hours of deliberation. However, it's worth mentioning that OJ lost the eventual civil case for the wrongful deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, with the jury awarding their families $33.5 million in punitive damages.
This episode is bumming me out, Ryan.
Yeah, I know.
This is a very depressing case.
This is the worst.
Bring the dog back.
Who didn't kill his ex-wife and Ronald Goldman? Then who did? Let's get into some alternate suspects. The first suspect is serial killer Glenn Rogers. In an investigation discovery documentary, Clay Rogers, the brother of serial killer Glenn Rogers, said that while on death row, his brother Glenn confessed to murdering Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. Though, even if this theory is true, OJ would still be guilty. Glenn Rogers reportedly had been hired by OJ to steal a pair of Nicole's earrings from her condo, but was told to kill her if she got in the way. However, it's possible that Rogers was serving a 6-week jail sentence at the time of the murders, and thus lied about his involvement.
I feel like people in prison for murder and serial killers tend to just
Claim things.
Yeah, why do they do that?
Sometimes people will claim things in an effort to make themselves seem more accomplished in that field, I suppose.
Well, none of us are impressed.
No,
Serial
I'm not
killers.
Yeah, that's going to really let it sink in. They're going to see this video and be like, he's right. Pack it up. You know what? What are we doing?
Stop it.
You're really hitting at their heart right now.
Stop it.
Keep going. Maybe you'll make a difference.
Stop serial killing.
The last suspect is Jason Simpson, OJ's son, and is the sole theory of famed private investigator Bill Deere, who is one of the few private investigators to be inducted into the Police Hall of Fame.
There's a Hall of Fame for
Though,
police
it's worth mentioning,
officers.
many have discredited Deere's case as almost entirely circumstantial. Nonetheless, Deere presents
I
his
think
theory in a book,
things
and the
can be
highlights are as follows.
set in
At the time
stone
of
with
Nicole and
circumstantial
Goldman's murders,
evidence.
Jason was on probation after having attacked
They just
Brendan
prefer
Ross with a knife.
visual
According to
evidence.
Deere, Jason had also attacked a former girlfriend named Jennifer Green. Deere also spoke to another former girlfriend of Jason's, named Dee Dee, who claimed Jason almost broke her back after throwing her into a bathtub, and perhaps even more suspiciously, cut off her hair with a knife, giving Jason 2 reported assaults involving a knife. Deere also reportedly obtained medical records of Jason's, illegally some might add, by dressing up and impersonating a doctor at Cedars-Sinai Hospital for 2 weeks, where Jason had been a patient.
I don't like
I mean,
this guy.
he tricked people in a hospital for 2 weeks.
People were murdered. And this guy's playing dress up?
I know, but I'm just saying.
That's all kinds of illegal.
Well, he was doing it because he was
I'll put
chasing.
on a funny wig.
In his mind, he was chasing justice. I mean, apparently the Police Hall of Fame thought so. So,
Is that a real thing?
yes, it is.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was just him making that up. Him in different costumes being like, yes, we're a real organization.
He cuts
Talk
the
to
video,
president.
so he's
yes,
talking.
hello, I'm the president. Hey, it looks like that other guy who's got a mustache.
According to Deere, Jason had been diagnosed
Don't mind
with
me, I was just getting a new
intermittent brain
tab ready
disease, and
to
around the time of the
open.
murders, Jason stopped taking the prescribed
to
antipsychotic
do a couple
drugs.
Googlings.
This was also during the time when Jason reportedly told doctors he was, quote, going to rage. Jason's alibi was that he was working at a restaurant that night. Deere feels this is a flimsy alibi due to the fact that his time card is reportedly handwritten, which could suggest it was forged after the murders. This reportedly handwritten time card looks even more suspicious when
Yeah,
you
that's
consider
kinda
the
weird.
fact that the electronic time clock at the restaurant was fully functional that night. Deere also
Yeah, that's kinda
reportedly found
sketch.
pictures of Jason wearing
Sketchy.
a knitted hat that bears resemblance to the one found at the scene of the crime. Pictures that only exist before the murders and not after. To cap this off, Deere suggests that OJ was only present at the scene of the crime to protect his son, and that this would explain his bizarre behavior after the murders, such as the infamous Bronco chase. But, as mentioned before, many have discredited Deer's case as almost entirely circumstantial. Unrelated to this case, on September 16, 2007, OJ was connected to a robbery in Las Vegas, Nevada. In the 2008 trial that followed, OJ was found guilty for 12 counts, including armed robbery and kidnapping, and was sentenced to 33 years in prison. According to CNN, the overall percentage of Americans who believe OJ did murder Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman has increased from 66% in 1994 to 83%.
I am part of the majority,
Certainly,
83%.
there are a lot of implications. Nuanced,
Yeah.
very nuanced.
I feel
I'll go into detail with the new tab.
Yeah.
And then another shower.
Yeah.
That's wasting a lot of water.
Well, thanks, Ryan. This has been a blast.
Yeah. Let's just go. Ouch. Perhaps one day we will have a definite answer for who was responsible for the tragic murders of Nicole Simpson and Ronald Goldman. But for now, the case officially remains unsolved.
And there should be a little funny thing after here. Nope, just a thing for trial and error. So, I think OJ did do it. Because with all the evidence and stuff. And I think he may have had like a mental issue like his son did. That was like aggravated by chronic encephalopathy. It's a big word I can't pronounce. And I'm waiting for the damn page to load. And it's a brain condition associated with repeated blows to the head. It is also associated with the development of dementia. Potential signs of CTE are problems with thinking and memory, personality changes, and behavioral changes including aggression and depression. So I think OJ did do it. And it's like the CTE. That's what I think happened. I think OJ did do it, but shitty police work got in the way. And I will end this video with a cute video for you people, because we need a cute